She waited for the clinking to stop and the VP to finish his toast before saying it loud enough to hit the damn ceiling. "Stop acting like you own me, Randall. You don't get to tell me where I go or who I'm with." The ballroom speakers didn't miss a syllable. I was out on the balcony, club soda in hand, trying not to watch Kendra work the room with Maya, the junior project manager in the wine-colored dress. The laugh that followed, that was the part that really landed, not just hers. A few people actually chuckled. 23 seconds of silence, then awkward bubbles of small talk, like nothing had happened. Quick note: before we start, how's your day going and where are you joining from? I smiled, nodded, kept the face neutral. "You're right, we're not together anymore," said it steady. Inside, something tore loose, not like a snap, more like a muscle tearing deep under skin. A guy from procurement muttered, "Ouch," like we were some sitcom couple. I was in my gray blazer, 15 years older than most of them, standing there like a guest at my own humiliation. I scanned the room and locked it into memory because I knew I'd need to remember the rosemary on the lamb skewers, the table numbers in gold frames, the DJ queuing up some 80s pop hit, COO's wife accidentally matching Maya's dress, the kind of night that burned images into your brain, whether you wanted them or not. Then came Blake, Kendra's brother, startup grin already on his face. "We'll need your signature Monday," he said, like we were wrapping up a casual dinner. He meant the seed money, 360 grand my dad left me when he passed. 32 years running machines in a metal shop, 2 slip discs, and a miracle of penny pinching. Kendra had been working me for months to invest in Blake's crypto logistics dream. No real pitch, just tech speak and fake urgency. "Not signing anything without audited books and a real deck," I told him. Kendra chuckled like I'd made a dad joke. In front of 3 middle managers, she patted my shoulder and said, "Randall gets nervous about business." Like I was a rescue dog with thunder issues. And they smiled. At her, not me. I drained the soda, jaw loose, stomach clenched. The decision was already forming. I walked out before dessert. Denver air hit sharp. I sat in my truck and watched a valet jog past with someone's BMW. I made 3 calls. A divorce lawyer, Linda Cortez, left a voicemail. My buddy Terry, he runs the storage units, picked up. The third was the night locksmith number my neighbor gave me after his own mess last year. By the time I hit Spear Boulevard, I knew what the next 24 hours were going to look like. I parked in front of Terry's storage lot by 7:40 a.m. It was still cold enough to see my breath, and the coffee in my thermos was already lukewarm. He met me at the gate in paint-splattered jeans and a Broncos hoodie. "C27's open," he said, tapping the keypad. "Dolly's loaded. Boxes are the thick wall kind. You're covered." He handed me a roll of tape and a Sharpie. I nodded. "Appreciate it. No sweat. You doing the move solo?" "Just her stuff." He gave a low whistle, but didn't ask why. Guys like Terry know when the story's still hot. He held the gate and said, "Back it in slow. Watch that corner." I reversed the truck into the bay, cut the engine, and stared at the concrete wall. Nothing spiritual about it, just a quiet place to start stacking. I needed a spot that wasn't shared, somewhere neutral. I drove home after that, traffic light, Denver still stretching awake. Kendra was gone, probably off to that brunch she mentioned. Her scent hung in the entryway like perfume wasn't flammable. I walked straight to the file drawer and got to work. Bank statements, credit card records, HOA payments, everything with both our names or just mine. I took photos, then photos of the photos, labeled each folder before sealing it back up. Redundancy wasn't paranoia, it was insurance, especially when someone like Blake starts sniffing around your inheritance like it's a buffet line. Next was the safe. She didn't know the combo had been changed 6 months ago after her first lost earring excuse. Inside was the old will from my dad, his discharge papers from the Army, and the condo deed in my name. Original ink, notarized, with my mother's initials still sharp in the corners. Kendra used to tell guests we bought it together. I let her, that ended now. By 9:03 a.m., Linda called back. "You serious about filing?" she asked, voice steady, no fluff. "Yes." "Then listen close. Don't confront, don't engage, document everything, texts, bank activity, any pattern of behavior, emotional manipulation, financial pressure, or third-party interference." She's been pushing her brother's business hard, I said. Wants me to sign by 4. Linda exhaled. You won't. That's coercion. Save any communication about it. When we file, we'll lead with financial overreach and emotional duress. You're not the first man to be guilted into funding nonsense. Understood. One more thing, she said. If you change the locks tonight, get it on record. Text confirmations, time-stamped emails. Don't give her grounds to claim illegal eviction. Condo's in your name. That matters. I hung up and sent the locksmith a confirmation. Tonight, 10:15. Confirmed. Joanne replied 2 minutes later. See you then. I wiped down the kitchen counters, tossed Kendra's half-dead orchids in the trash, and scrubbed the coffee mug she loved like it owed her rent. The chip was deeper than I remembered. I didn't set it back on the rack. I dropped it in the garbage, too. At 11:10, the front door clicked open. Kendra swept in talking into her phone, laughing. Some executive, probably. She gave me a glance, not a greeting, just enough to register I was furniture. She kicked her heels off and said between sentences, Blake's on it. You'll get the email by 3. Sign before 5, okay? I didn't answer. She vanished down the hall. At 11:17, the email hit. Subject line, Safe Doc, Final Draft. It was one PDF and a Google link labeled Executive Summary. I clicked it. The deck looked like it was slapped together in a bar, charts with no numbers, logos of companies they hadn't worked with. I screenshotted every page and forwarded it to Linda. No reply yet. I knew she'd see it for what it was. At noon, I changed into jeans and boots, went down to the parking garage, and loaded the dolly with a half-dozen boxes. Tape held. Weight felt right. My body knew this kind of work. Sort, lift, stack, repeat. I didn't rush it. I wasn't angry, not anymore. I was just done. I drove the first load to Unit C-27, backed in like Terry showed me, and unloaded clean. Labeled each one simple and direct. Bedroom, closet left. Bathroom, her shelf. Office, top drawer. I left space in the back corner for one more set. Whatever I found later, that didn't sit right. Back home, I walked through the condo like it was already half empty. Kendra was on a Zoom call in the guest room, pacing barefoot and smiling that fake smile that once made me fall for her. Now, I saw the sharp edges behind it. I stood in the hallway and texted Linda. Documents saved, lock change confirmed, file Wednesday. She replied within seconds. We'll be ready. Stay silent. Don't tip your hand. I powered my phone off and stared at the framed photo of my dad by the entryway. If he was here, he'd say, measure twice, cut once, then move on. I opened the closet and pulled out the navy sport coat she'd told me to wear, laid it on the bed. I wasn't wearing anything tonight. I had plans of my own. At 10:18 on the dot, I opened the door to Joanne standing there like she'd been doing this since high school. Denim jacket, toolbox in one hand, scratched up thermos in the other. Deadbolt's decent, she said after a glance. Smart core's old, easy to swap. She walked in without asking, set the thermos on the entry table, and laid out her tools in a perfect line, like a surgeon prepping an OR. She looked up once. You sure? I nodded. She didn't need the backstory. People who work nights already know how these jobs end up. Across the hall, Hank stepped out in socks and a flannel shirt, limping slightly but pushing a dolly like it was nothing. I'll run boxes. He didn't ask either, didn't need to. Hank had seen Kendra walking Maya to the door too many Tuesday nights in a row. He never said it straight, but he'd mention things like traffic's strange on Tuesdays or funny how her appointments all run long the same night every week. I said, thanks. He tapped the dolly once. Holler if you need tape. I turned and got to it, closet first. Her side, neat rows of shoes, clothes by color, a whole row of useless bags she called statement pieces. I packed them like I was boxing someone else's life. No ripping, no smashing, no revenge. Just clean removal. Then the dresser. Drawer number 3, front left corner. Her mood board. A pile of high-end perfume samples shoved in a pouch. Underneath, extra chargers, receipts from stores I never stepped into. A leather-bound notebook with half a page written. Just the word strategy and some arrows. Office next. 2 drawers with old notebooks, sticky notes with half-written thoughts. A flash drive labeled pitch. I left it in. She could take her ideas with her. Then came the surprise. Spare laptop sleeve in the storage bin under the bed. I opened it to check for devices and found a folded silk scarf, deep wine red, identical to the dress Maya wore at the party. Still smelled like whatever cologne wasn't mine. Underneath was a ring box, pale blue. Inside, a gold band with 3 tiny diamonds. Classic, understated. Price tag still tucked inside with the receipt. Dated 3 weeks after our anniversary. Paid in full with our joint maintenance card. My card. I didn't flinch, just took a photo, then another. Set the scarf and box aside in a smaller carton and labeled it in black marker. Tuesday afternoons, return to owner. Joanne was humming low by the door as pins clicked into place. Men like you don't call me first, she said without looking up. They usually call after they've kicked a hole in the door. I waited too long, she nodded once. Happens. She stood, twisted the lock, and tapped the new cylinder. This model's restricted, no kiosk copies. You want more keys? You call me. No one else? She pressed 2 keys into my palm, heavy, solid. They felt like something that wouldn't break easy. Like a handshake with myself. Hank passed by, arms full of boxes. He didn't say anything, just nodded like this was the job now. One step, then the next. At 1:40 a.m., the email was ready and set to send. Subject: clarification on conduct and financial boundaries. To Dana Schultz in HR, Kendra's boss, Whitaker. Legal distribution, the board alias Kendra forgot, was logged in on our home laptop, and both families, hers and mine. Attachments: the Hyatt video clip, courtesy of Noah in IT, who just happened to be testing the AV that night. The ring receipt, a photo of the scarf. 2 expense reports marked client entertainment with Tuesday dates. A short note: I will not fund Blake Bolton's unincorporated venture. Please direct any questions to counsel. I hit schedule and set it to send just before dawn. Last box went by the door. I swept the floor once, slow, not looking for anything, just making sure there was nothing left that belonged to her. Joanne tightened the last screw on the deadbolt, packed her tools, and looked at me. You'll sleep better tonight, she said. I didn't argue. She left. I waited for the hallway to go still, then closed the door and turned the new lock. The sound it made was clean, precise. I stood there for a second, hand on the knob, feeling something settle. Then I walked to the window, cracked it open an inch, and let the city air in. I was still by the window when the elevator dinged, 2:06 a.m. Then I heard it, her heels. Sharp, angry, closing in. The fob clicked once, red light, again, harder. Like force would change the code. Randall. She didn't knock. She said it like a parent calling a kid who's about to get grounded. I didn't move. Hank cracked his door just enough to slide into view. Bathrobe tied, phone held chest high, casual as could be. Evening, he said, like he was just saying hi to a neighbor. Kendra turned to him, eyes scanning the boxes along the wall. Neat, labeled, unmistakable. What is this? Looks like a move-out, Hank said, calm, helpful. Building's big on documentation these days. I could picture her face. I'd seen it before in boardrooms and family dinners, her eyes flipping through emotions like TV channels. Surprise, anger, then that cold flicker of calculation. You can't lock me out, she snapped, pointing at the door like it owed her something. My name's not on the deed, Hank answered for me. It's on file downstairs. If you want to call someone, call your lawyer. Her phone buzzed, then again. Long pause. She glanced down and her jaw flexed. That would be the email. 1:40 a.m. on the dot. Delivered to HR Legal. Her boss, both families, mine, hers, the board alias, her mom, buzz, buzz, buzz. She looked up, voice clipped. He sent it to everyone. Hank shrugged like he was giving weather advice. Transparency's in season. She pivoted fast. Randall, open the door. We can talk. I didn't move from the couch. We tried talking at the Hyatt, I said, voice steady through the wood. Silence. Then her tone shifted, cool, measured. I'd heard it in sales pitches and exit interviews. You're overreacting. You embarrassed me tonight. Hank raised one eyebrow. Ma'am, that video where you said he doesn't own you, a lot of folks saw that. Looked mutual to me. Her phone rang, loud, speaker already on. Kendra, what on earth is this? Lorraine's voice, sharp, high-end mad. The ring, the expenses, the email. She scrambled to mute it, fumbled, missed. Your father is livid. Click. She froze for a second. Buzzes kept coming, then one long, sour beep. A voicemail from someone she hadn't expected, probably. Noah texted me a screenshot. Subject line, conflict of interest, supervisor, subordinate conduct. Timestamp, 7 minutes after the email went out. HR wasn't sleeping on this. I pulled out my phone and took a photo of the new key in the lock, sent it to myself. That sound it made earlier, I'd been right to like it, proof that the line had been drawn. Kendra banged her fist on the door once, then twice. Don't do this, she hissed. You'll regret it. I didn't answer. The hallway didn't need more volume, it needed facts. That's when security arrived. Not the guy at the front desk. Real security. 2 uniforms, one older, one younger. The younger one saw Hank and gave him a nod like they'd done this before. Ma'am, he said, firm but not unkind. You're not listed on the lease. You'll need to leave the boxes here. Pickup can be arranged through building management. Kendra stared at him, then at Hank, then back at the door. Something in her posture changed. She didn't scream, didn't cry, just deflated, not beaten, just caught. She picked up her phone, tapped something out fast, then looked at the boxes like they were stacked with explosives. Then she turned and walked back to the elevator, not looking at any of us. The doors opened. She stepped in without another word. Gone. Hank tucked his phone back into his robe pocket. No gloating, just quiet. Sun'll be up in 3 hours, he said. Coffee's on me. I nodded and opened the door. The hallway felt wider than before. By 9:30 a.m., my phone was blowing up like a bad ticker tape. Noah from IT called first. Once I saw that ballroom clip, I checked logs, he said. No small talk. Kendra's been expensing Tuesday hotel stays and high-end dinners, labeled under client development. Same nights you flagged. I didn't say anything. And the junior, Maya, her reviews and promotion timelines? He paused. They all line up perfect under Kendra's approvals. Bit too neat. He sent me a zip file with everything. Said HR and legal got it first. I downloaded the full batch, saved it to a separate drive, and linked it to Linda's cloud. Backup of a backup. No such thing as overkill when someone's willing to lie on paper. At noon sharp, Linda walked in carrying a red file binder that looked like it meant business. She opened it without sitting. Green tab, public disparagement at a corporate event, she said, flipping. Yellow, supervisor subordinate misconduct, including manipulation of internal advancement. Red, coercion attempt to access funds outside marital assets. She looked up. Randall, we're in the driver's seat. I nodded. Let's file. She sat. We'll include a motion to protect your inheritance and outline that the condo is separate property, title, and origin. And if her firm asks about character clauses, we give them just enough to suggest risk without lighting fires. Got it. And Randall? Yeah? We float a mutual NDA. If she signs, we don't pursue tortious interference. Or contact the SEC about Blake's little fundraise. I almost smiled. At 2, the doorbell rang. Hank beat me to it. From his doorway, I heard the lock click. Maya stood there, hoodie, jeans, no makeup, eyes puffy. Shoulders hunched like she wanted to fold in half. I need to apologize, she said the moment she stepped in. Linda gave me a small nod. Let her talk. She told me you were separated, said you were controlling and wouldn't sign divorce papers. She pulled out her phone and set it on the counter. I kept everything. Calendar invites, messages, hotel reservations she made me book under my own name. She said it was mentoring, I said. She said it was career development, Maya replied. Then she told people I was needy, weak, but I saved the texts, all of them. She opened a DM from a jewelry account, showed us a picture of a gold ring with the caption, "Soon, once the paperwork is done. He's stubborn." Linda leaned in, her voice low. That's good. Shows premeditation and narrative control, strong if we need it. I poured tea. Maya took a sip with both hands like it was cold out, even though the heat was on. Hank stood in the doorway, arms crossed, watching, not judging, just present. When Maya left, she hugged me with the kind of quick awkwardness you only use when you're ashamed of being used. Sorry again, she whispered. My phone buzzed. Text from Terry, photos attached, caption, found old bank statements in a shoebox marked Receipts 2017. She's been skimming. $400 here, $650 there. Almost $38,000 over 3 years. Linda tapped through the scans. That's misappropriation, she said. It backs up our claim that you were the primary financial steward, helps with the settlement. It didn't feel like triumph, just clarity. Clean anger, tight, focused, no heat, just the facts. By Thursday, Kendra's lawyer reached out. Mediation. Monday morning, we sat across a table so glossy it reflected our hands. Kendra wore a navy suit and her neutral face, the one she used in HR onboarding videos. Her lawyer opened with pleasantries like we were kicking off a quarterly review. I didn't say a word. I just placed the folder on the table. Hyatt video, expense reports, Maya's statement, spreadsheet titled Transfers Out, Unauthorized. Linda opened with our offer. Randall keeps the condo, full retirement, and all inherited funds untouched. Kendra takes her personal items only. She signs an NDA. In return, we do not file tort claims or alert regulatory authorities regarding Blake Bolton's unregistered investment solicitations. Her attorney blinked. Kendra stared like the paper had changed languages halfway through. Whisper, head nod, pen in hand. She signed. The tip of the pen trembled when she wrote the last letter. Mine didn't. I wasn't planning to go. I'd even pulled the blinds and pretended I didn't hear the music drifting up. But at 6 sharp, Hank knocked. 2 folding chairs in one hand, a paper plate in the other. He didn't ask, just said, "Ain't about her." We rode the elevator to the roof like we were going to a funeral with free ribs. The grill smoke hit first. Burgers, onions, charcoal. The kind of smell that lives in your shirt till morning. Kids zigzagged through tables with half-melted popsicles. Someone had dragged out speakers and played Springsteen too loud, too early. I stood by the edge, didn't grab a plate, just breathed. Then the first nod came, then a second. Eli from the front desk walked over with a fist bump and said, "For what it's worth, sir, you handled it steady." A couple from 16B leaned in later. "We saw the email," the woman whispered, like it was a church secret. "Hope you're eating better these days." "Trying," I said. Men from my old bowling night clapped me on the back, said they missed my curve. I hadn't realized how many people were watching, not judging, just noticing. And I finally understood something I should have figured out a long time ago. People don't respect a blow-up. They respect a man who does the hard thing and keeps it level. At 8:43, the elevator dinged again. Kendra stepped out like she still owned the place. Black dress, hair curled. Blake beside her in some half-tailored thing, with sunglasses on his head like he expected cameras. Nobody gasped. No music stopped. But the energy shifted, tightened. Conversation stayed going, just adjusted, like a slow tide turning without warning. She moved toward a group near the bar. They drifted. Blake tried to chat with the HOA treasurer, Susan, I think, who suddenly remembered she needed to count the folding forks. I didn't smile, didn't gloat. I just watched it happen. Hank stood up and took the mic from a kid playing MC near the speaker table. "Quick toast," he said, voice low but firm, "to neighbors who show their character when things go sideways." Cups went up. He looked straight at me. "To keeping doors secure and doing the hard thing without making the mess worse." People laughed, not loud, not cruel, just honest. Then he held the mic out to me. I almost waved him off. Then I stepped forward and took it. "Thanks for making this place feel like a small town when I needed one," I said. That was enough. That was all I needed to say. Near the stairs, Kendra made her move. Soft voice. "Just us." "We could talk sometime," she said, eyes just glassy enough to look like a scene. Hank stood 5 feet away, watching the skyline with his arms folded, close enough if she raised her voice, distant enough if I wanted to walk. I said, "We did, in rooms with lawyers." She blinked. "You won't forgive?" "I don't need to carry it." She nodded once, slow, like she finally heard the line and knew not to cross it. Blake glared at me like I'd stolen some genius-level idea he hadn't written down yet. I didn't explain that ideas don't count without receipts. The fireworks started, small pops from the park, blue and red bursts flickering off the rooftop glass. That's when Eli came over with an envelope, held it like a paycheck. "From HR at Kendra's firm," he said, casual as delivering the mail. I opened it. Short message. "We have concluded our investigation. Thank you for your cooperation." That was corporate speak for "she's out." Or soon will be. I stood at the edge of the roof with my hands in my pockets, watching the bursts light up the sky over Denver. And for the first time in a long stretch of months, I didn't feel like I was holding my breath. I just felt space. The hearing took 12 minutes. The judge barely looked up. Simple robe, flat tone, like she was reading a lunch order. "Do you contest the terms?" "No, Your Honor." She nodded, stamped the file, and slid it off her desk. 16 years, sealed with one click of rubber and ink. I walked out of the Denver courthouse feeling weightless. Not happy, not sad, just done. The sun hit hard, July heat that stuck to the back of your neck. Hank was waiting on the stone bench like always, held out a bottle of water. "Quick, quick," I said. We sat for a few quiet minutes, watching people file in. Divorces, custody cases, traffic nonsense. Life just kept rolling. 2 weeks later, Lorraine called. Her name popped up and I almost hit decline, but I answered. Her voice came in slow and careful. "Randall, I saw the documents. I was wrong about you." She didn't stall or sugar it, just told me straight that she'd boxed up the family silver for Kendra years ago, for when she married well. Then she said, "I realize now that meant for when she married money." She asked if I wanted the box for the nieces. I said, "Keep it. I don't need pieces of your story to finish mine." She cried, quiet and short. We ended decent. That's enough in life. Work picked back up. I'm a home reno guy. Small teams, old houses, steady hands. Word got around. Folks respect someone who shows up on time and leaves the place better than they found it. A developer called after hearing some version of my story at a golf course. "We need someone who can organize chaos," he said. That's renovating. That's ending a marriage. You measure twice, cut once, clean up every nail so nobody steps on something sharp later. Tuesdays turned into a routine. Me, Hank, Vince the plumber, and Jerome the school custodian. We meet at the diner, order cheap coffee, and talk about whatever. Contracts, grandkids, the Rockies bullpen. Sometimes things we missed that we shouldn't have. Last week, a younger guy, Wes from 14C, joined us. He had the same face I used to wear. He asked, "How'd you know it was time?" I told him, "When I stopped bargaining with what I already knew." He nodded, didn't say more, didn't need to. Most mornings now, I drink my coffee on the balcony, plain mug, no chip. Joanne's key hangs on a nail by the door, not a trophy, just a marker. The condo's quieter than it used to be, quieter than I thought I'd like. But the quiet's honest. If I hear laughter through the glass, it's a neighbor kid, not a ballroom echo counting seconds against me. Looking back, yeah, I should have known sooner. But I did the steady thing when it mattered, and that's the part I can live with.